Hey everybody, Coach Stacy Lynn here. So it's been a few days since I have come in here to say hi to all of you guys, and I want to say hi to everybody. Hello, everybody. If you're new to the channel, thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And I know that people say it all the time on here. They're like, "Yeah, hit the subscribe button, do this, give me a thumbs up." I hate saying stuff like that. But hopefully, if you do like what I talk about, you'll subscribe. And for those of you who have joined, I really appreciate it. So, I've been going through some interesting stuff in my personal life. And um, so it's kind of this has taken a back seat to some of that. Um, but I did have one thing I want to talk about that I think you might benefit from, hopefully. That's the point, right? What do you do when someone ghosts you? They just disappear. You thought you had a quote relationship with them, and next thing you know, they're gone. Poof, in thin air. What do you do? So recently, I had somebody who I had a connection with on Instagram, and you're probably watching this. And if you are, I hope that what I'm about to say encourages you because I don't think you're the only one that does this. Okay, so I'm just talking to that person. They know who they are. But I had this connection with somebody on Instagram, somebody that actually was kind enough to promote this channel, to promote me because I was speaking out against all the stuff going on at Daystar, and some of the other false teachers out there, different stuff like that. Um, and in recent days, there have been a lot of people who have been talking a lot about the impending rapture that's supposed to take place. Right now, I'm tempted to like make myself disappear and then come back just for dramatic effect, but I'm not that skilled, people. Just saying. But I believe in the rapture, so I'm not mocking the rapture. What I'm concerned about is all the hype over it. And if you have a differing opinion of it, how quickly people are to dismiss you or blow you off or call you a heretic or call you names or tell you you're of the devil, you shouldn't believe that, blah blah, whatever the heck. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm older, but I don't really care what other people think about what I think about stuff like that. I just don't. Um, and you'll find, especially if you're younger, you will find that the older you get, the less you'll care about what other people think about you and about the ideas that you hold. The reality is most people don't think about you. I mean, that's the reality. Um, and we live in a culture today that is very hypersensitive and takes things personally. And if you are that type of person where you take things personally because you're super hypersensitive, then you're going to have a lot of rocky relationships and you're going to be a person who ends up being unsettled a lot of the time because you do this. Now, here's the interesting thing. Hypersensitivity can be triggered by three things: tone of voice, silence, and looks. So, what do you get triggered by the most? What sets you off when somebody doesn't respond to you? That's silence. By a tone. I remember when I was doing marriage counseling and long time ago, I remember I'd have couples come in and they would say, "I don't like his tone. I don't like her tone." You know, is it the tone or is it looks? You're reading into a look, people. You just are. I mean, we're human beings, right? So these three things can trigger hypersensitivity because if you think somebody is speaking down to you or talking down to you, then you might take it personally. If you think they're giving you a dirty look or the evil eye, which I don't even know how to do that. How do you give the evil eye, people? I just don't even know. My eyes are cheery. Anyway, or silence, right? I've said before, silence is one of those buttons with me. My very abusive mother would give me the silent treatment for weeks when I was in high school. So, I mean, silence can be a really, I mean, silence is actually abuse. Okay. Just saying, when somebody gives you silence, that's abuse. So, you have a couple of issues, right? You have the hypersensitivity, taking things personally, and then you have people ghosting you. And so in this situation, I had this lady ghost me after I left a comment that where I said that I believed in once saved, always saved doctrine. Next thing you know, I'm blocked on Instagram. And I know I'm blocked because I looked on her account with another account and it came up. And I noticed that you couldn't see any of my content. So I'm blocked. Okay, well, I don't take things personally when it comes to like, well, like, what the heck? Why did they do that? But I am a person and I do feel hurt by that action because what it tells me is that this person reacted so harshly towards something that they didn't agree with that they just slammed the door. You're blocked. You're blocked. Oh, you're blocked. Oh, you're blocked. Like, like, hey, how's the weather? It looks nice today. Oh, you're blocked. Because you know what? To me, the weather is ugly, people. Just saying. So I'm gonna block you because you said it's nice or ugly. I think it's ugly. And this is how reactive our society has become, right? Oh my gosh. You don't like something somebody said, block them because, you know, God forbid, literally, that you actually have a differing opinion. And yet, I guess my question is, if that's you, if you tend to react that way, and you're a Christian, and this is what I'm talking to here, I'm talking to you Christians, right? If you're reacting that way to a fellow believer, how is that being like the Lord? Did Jesus up and block the Pharisees? No, he didn't. He up and had discussions with them. You know, did he block sinners? No, he ate with them. You know, I I I want you to think about if this is the type of behavior you engage in when somebody says something you disagree with, um, then I want you to ask yourself, is that how I would want to be treated by a fellow believer? The Lord said that we should love him with all of our heart, our mind, our soul, our body, and our strength, and to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Do you block yourself when you disagree with yourself? When you're having an argument in your head, do you block yourself? Do you? I think some people do. I think some people do drugs, they get addicted to substance, they do whatever they can to not feel the uncomfortable feeling. And here's the deal. The deal is in order for you to grow, and this goes to everybody, in order for you to grow emotionally, you have to get used to being uncomfortable with uncomfortable feelings that you're not used to. Hopefully that made sense. So, in other words, you have to get used to, let's say you're full of chaos constantly, you're full of anxiety. Then you find something that gives you peace. Being over here in the peace section is harder. It's going to be harder for you because you're used to being, "Ah," right? Instead of, oh, who would want to be, oh, oh, let's be, instead it's like, "Ah." I'm very animated today, I admit, but I'm trying to make a point. And the point is that if you are reacting to somebody saying something that you're getting all offended by because you're probably taking it personally because you're hypersensitive, then one of the things that you could work on is learning how to not take things personally and how not to react. Because ideas are ideas, right? Ideas are meant to be discussed. Life would be so boring if we had all the same ideas and all the same opinions. In fact, I remember my former therapist telling me once, and this made me laugh. That's why I remember it. She was so funny. She told me once, it's probably one of the most classic lines she ever said to me. She said, if if we all thought and looked alike, we would all be minions, people. Well, she didn't say the people part, but we'd all be yellow. We'd all be a minion. In other words, we'd all be robots, right? I don't know about you, but I'm not interested in a relationship with a robot. And yet, interestingly, more and more people are trying to get help from, quote, robots, a la Chat GPT and other places. So you can react to Chat GPT and it won't get upset with you. Well, it might, who knows? But it's not going to take whatever you say personally. But when you are interacting with a living human being, there's got to be some give and take and understanding. And if you're reacting to something benign, like a different point of view about soteriology, also known as salvation, then I think you got some examining to do. And I know there's a lot of people out there that have that. I was talking to a pastor earlier today that I'm working with, and I was talking to him that about a lot of the stuff here I deal with here on this channel. Perry Stone is a false teacher, and it was interesting. I was just on hold with the bank, and they had this continually playing message. I wrote it down because it was interesting to me. They had the message that said an imposter, if somebody is trying to contact you this way, it could be that an imposter is trying to deceive you. And it kept saying that over and over again. An imposter is trying to deceive you. An imposter is trying to deceive you. And so I was talking, got some allergies here. I was talking to this pastor and I was explaining to him that the people who are getting mad at me because I'm exposing Perry Stone for being an imposter are people who don't understand that my intention in bringing things up is to help them, it's not to hurt them. And they're all reactive and they're calling me names and stuff. And I'm like, think about that. Would you go to like a baseball stadium full of people and just start yelling and screaming and insulting somebody's looks and all that? And I'm not talking about the Phillies, Karen, okay? Just saying, people. Got to be a baseball fan to know what I'm talking about there. If you are, that's a sad situation, isn't it? But that's etiquette for you, right? So when somebody insults me because I point out a fact, an actual fact about whatever it is, I don't take it personally. I wonder what is happening inside that person that that reaction is so eh, you know? What is it? And that's the thing. When you're taking things personally, you're not even thinking about the other person. This person who blocked me on Instagram, I don't know if they even thought that I have feelings, that her behavior could have hurt me. Like, what did I ever do to her? I didn't do anything to her. I prayed for her. I listened to her problems. I thanked her for promoting me. And then I stated my opinions about the rapture it's not gonna take place. I don't think. And I believed in once saved, always saved, which is eternal security. And I watched a 58-hour sermon series on that topic. And I would encourage you that, like, just as an example, if if you care about a topic so much, you believe in it enough to block somebody you're disagreeing with, but you never really listened to teaching on it, I would encourage you to actually do look at the teaching. Take time. I mean, if you got 10 hours a day to make graphics and promote false teachers or people talking about false teachers or whatever every day, then why not take an hour out of your day and listen to 1 hour of that series and then listen to the second hour? You can get through it in a couple of months, easy. Um, and that goes for anybody. You know what? I know I'm probably sounding right now like an old lady to some people, but I'm just going to say this. You know what? Life isn't all about you. It's not all about your feelings. There are other people on the other side of the screen. There are other people in your life that have feelings. They have a lot of things going on, and people have said it a lot, and you'll see it. This is like September is like Mental Health Awareness Month or whatever. Um, it's a month of something anyway. Um, and it's like everybody is fighting their own battle. Everybody is at their own level of broke. Everybody is at their own level of happiness, their own journey with the Lord. Everybody has problems, including me. But how you deal with them actually tells you how mature you are. Because if you're overwhelmed by your own life and you're taking all your issues out on other people, that's not going to help you any. But if you can regulate yourself and get to the place where you are mature and you can control your feelings and you can control your thoughts, you can control your behavior, also known as the Holy Spirit having self control in you, then the better off you're going to be. And you're actually going to get better help in the long run because people are going to not think you're going to be somebody who flies off the handle when something doesn't go your way. You know, one of my favorite things is to discuss ideas. My previous podcast I did for 20 years, that's when I did, and I have friends just talking about soteriology just as an example, the once saved, always saved. I have a lot of friends that don't believe in eternal security like I do. But I also know those people didn't sit through 58 hours of teaching on it like I did, and they're not interested. They don't care. But you know what? The three ladies I sat through about 30 hours of that teaching with, it changed their life because they realized how much scripture is taken out of context, it's twisted, it's applied to mean one thing when it actually doesn't mean that, which is why Bible reading in context and understanding the Bible in its context is really, really important. But that's not taught either. So I look at people who attack me here online and I think, first of all, they were probably hurt in the church. Second of all, they like their ears being tickled, which is really weird. I've never had anybody tickle my ear, really, actually, but because you know what? It's hard to stop and read the Bible and think for yourself. It just is. And until you can get to that place where you do that, you're going to be reacting instead of responding. So I just want you today to examine how you react to people when you're blocking them without going to them. How is that like Jesus? How is that actually like Jesus? Would Jesus have blocked a Pharisee on Facebook if they had, or Instagram or whatever, if they had a discussion about soteriology that he didn't agree with them about? Would Jesus have done that? The answer is no. Just so you know, the answer is no. This is an open book test. The answer is no, people. Jesus didn't do that. Jesus treated people better than they treated him. Better. Yeah, all he told us to do is love one another as we love ourselves. So if this is an indicator of how you love yourself, how you just love me, well, that tells me you don't love yourself very much, right? And that's a good way of looking at it because Jesus taught us to love better, not worse. So I hope that if you're watching and you did block me, I hope that you know that I'm actually not mad at you, but I am sad that you didn't respect me enough to actually just say I disagree with you and continue on with the conversation. I think to react in the way that you did by blocking me for simply having an idea different than yours, it's just sad. It's just sad. And it happens a lot. Now, I will block people if they verbally abuse me. I'm a very long suffering, tolerant person. But if somebody comes and they verbally assault me, they attack me, they attack my character, my looks, my family, and I try to have a discussion after that and they continue to do it, then I'll block them because it's not worth it to me. And so that's just something to consider. So I would love it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever been ghosted? Did you know why you were ghosted? Have you ever been verbally assaulted by somebody? What is your struggle? Is it tone of voice? Is it silence? Is it facial expression? If you feel comfortable, leave me a comment, and I would like to hear what your thoughts are. What would you have done in this case? Let me know. And I hope you have a better day. Talk to you soon.